Nonverbal communication is transfer information using just our body language. Everyone tends to communicate nonverbally as much as verbal. When we approach somebody, if we're in a happy mood, we tend to just smile as approaching someone without even saying, sometimes without even saying the hello first. We usually just tend to, smile and make the eye contact. Children do this more often than adults. For example, when they're upset, they frown or they lower their eyebrows. And when they're excited, they raise their eyebrows and even they gasp, like, I'm excited with a smile. And I notice this a lot in my children. When they're mad, I notice them because they frown and they like walk in a fast pace. So I constantly have to be like, hey, are you okay? Calm down. Like, what's the matter? Without even like first using verbal communication, we tend to use nonverbal, or at least my children, I see them that they use nonverbal communication when we first interact. Today I'm going to talk to you about the training that is required for nonverbal communication in the medical field. There are 4 ways to interact with patients without using words. These are body posture, eye contact, facial expressions, and touch. While I work in the medical field as the medical assistant in a pediatric office, it was important for us to use these methods as nonverbal communication. For example, we had to acknowledge that the patient as well as the parents gesture. Some parents would come in and we could tell they were a little nervous when bringing their child or children in for a checkup, because they tend to pace around, walk around, and we just have to tell them like, oh, it's okay, everything's gonna be okay, they're good. I will be able to tell when a child was sick because most of the time they were frowning or with a sad face or just looking at the floor. So we automatically knew like which child was sick when they came in like in a group with siblings. When a teenager would come in, it was really it was almost the same thing. They would lack of eye contact, especially when asking like medical questions. Then will make them uncomfortable, especially when the parents were in the room. They would just like not look at us, or they would just be like no and not like making eye contact with us. So it was kind of it was a different environment when we're like checking up a small child than when we were checking up like a preteen or a teenager. We obviously had to do, we always made a lot of eye contact to let the patient or the parents know that we're alert, that we know what's going on, that we're taking all the information in. Also the receptionists, had to work on nonverbal communication as well. For example, her posture, like she will have to sit up straight, make eye contact to let the parents know that she's taking all the information in. I would notice when a parent, that was something wrong, because like they would cross their shoulders or, just like with this face expression and like concern, and I would have to ask them, hey, is everything okay? Did you understand the doctor? Do you have any other questions? And if something was out of my scope, then I would just go and get the doctor. But we would have to pick up those cues before, when the parent was upset, before it got into a big complaint or a big problem. I remember we had a staff member that she was a good coworker, but she lacked a smile. I don't know if because she was a little older, but she was just like work really fast sometimes, and she got a lot of complaints from the parents to the doctor. So I remember the doctor had to talk to her and said, although you're a great worker, this is a family friendly place, a pediatric place, so you have to smile a little bit more than if you just work in a normal medical office. There's this video on YouTube that is similar to a training that I put it there on my information of my video about nonverbal communication in the medical field. They explain that how sometimes nonverbal communication could be taken upon the wrong way depending on people's culture. For example, we tend to pat someone on the shoulder to make them sure they're okay, and in some cultures that could be a lack of disrespect, like, give me my personal space, don't touch me. So it could be perceived as violating someone's space or, someone's right. In the pediatric nursing, touching, is almost always, it happens all the time when, when dealing with babies or small children. So we have to take it a sensitive and respectful way. Also, eye contact for us is like, I've been explaining how eye contact is really important. So, we're taking information in, I'm acknowledge that I'm paying attention to you. But eye contact in some cultures could be a sign of rude, it's rude, it's disrespectful. So, they could take it as, you're staring too much, you're invading their space, again. So we had to, make sure that we acknowledge all those cues, depending on someone's culture, not doing it too much. I feel these 4 nonverbal interactions in the medical field is really important, but not only in the medical field, it could be used anywhere, from sales to business to criminal justice. Policemen do this, trainings. I work, when I was younger, I worked as a sales rep, and I had to do that with customers, like at the stores, like walking in and, smile automatically, guide them, paying attention to where they're shopping, so I could be able to help them before they even came and asked me, like, hey, I need help. So like I mentioned, nonverbal communication, we do it everywhere at all times, sometimes without even noticing it. And I feel it's really important for us to have that kind of communication, as in society. So we'll be able to communicate with others, especially now with like COVID. We're in a mess. I feel like eye contact and more hand gestures, waving hi, automatically makes it seem like, hey, I'm happy, I'm acknowledging you, or like, thank you. So we tend to do this more now, I feel, but it's really important for us to acknowledge the nonverbal communication as well as verbal communication. Thank you.